All right, Tommy here. Today we are reading lesson 3 of the Magic Ladder to Success, which is self confidence. And I'm going to say, like I mostly say each time, make sure to have a pen and paper ready, or a pen or pencil and paper ready. Just be willing to, press pause and record some things when good ideas come to mind, because that's really the point of it. You want to be able to just really get a good. You want to get good ideas that help your projects that you're moving forward with move forward in, right? Okay. Lesson 3: Self Confidence, Magic Ladder to Success by Napoleon Hill, edited by Patricia G. Horan, read by me, Tommy, and might give my opinions, but ultimately, just my intention is for you to grasp good ideas either during this reading or later in the day and take action on them if you can, or at least, speak about them, because the more ripples there are, in a drop in the ocean, the more ripples that arrive, they can intertwine with other ones, right? So if you don't act on it necessarily, but you speak about it, and that's your action on it, it will help you, or it will help others, because you will be, talking about that higher focused goal. Lesson 3: Self confidence. The third of the 17 laws of success is self confidence. This term is self explanatory. It means that to achieve success, you must believe in yourself. But this does not mean that you have no limitations. It means that you are to take inventory of yourself, find out what qualities you have that are strong and useful, and then organize these qualities into a definite plan of action with which to attain the object of your definite chief aim. In all the languages of the world, there is no one word that carries the same or even approximately the same meaning as the word faith. This does not necessarily refer to faith in a higher power, yet, if there are any such things as miracles, they are performed only with the aid of super faith. The doubting type of mind is not a creative mind. Search where and how you may Search where and how you may, and you will not discover one single record of great achievement in any line of endeavor that was not conceived in imagination and brought into reality through faith. To succeed, you must have faith in your own ability to do whatever you make up your mind to do. Also, you must cultivate the habit of faith in those who are associated with you, whether they are in a position of authority over you or you over them. The psychological reason for this will be covered thoroughly and plainly in the law on cooperation further on. Doubters are not builders. Had Columbus lacked self confidence and faith in his own judgment, the richest and most glorious spot of God on this earth might never have been discovered, and these lines might never have been written. Had George Washington and his compatriots in 1776 not possessed self confidence, Cornwallis's army would have conquered, and the United States of America would be ruled today from a little island lying 3,000 miles away in the east. A definite chief aim is the starting point of all noteworthy achievement. But self confidence is the unseen force that coaxes, drives, or leads one on one and until one on and on. Let me reread that sentence. A definite chief aim is the starting point of all noteworthy achievement, but self confidence is the unseen force that coaxes, drives, or leads one on and on until the object of the aim is a reality. Without self confidence, no achievements would ever get beyond the aim stage, and mere aims within themselves are worth nothing. Many people have vague sorts of aims, but they get nowhere because they lack the self confidence to create definite plans for attaining these aims. Fear is the main enemy of self confidence. Every person comes into this world cursed, in some extent, with 6 basic fears, all of which must be mastered before one may develop sufficient self confidence to attain outstanding success. These 6 basic fears are the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of poverty, the fear of old age, the fear of loss of love of someone, ordinarily called jealousy, the fear of death. Space will not permit a long description of how and where these six fears came from. In the main, however, they are acquired through early childhood environment by teaching, the telling of ghost stories, discussion of hellfire, and in many other ways. Fear of criticism is placed at the head of the list because it is perhaps the most common and one of the most destructive of the entire six fears. It's said that fear of public speaking is the most common one of all, and clearly, fear of criticism as fear of criticism is at the heart of it. No matter how urgent one's message or how much a job or a sale depends on it, the same damp palms, halting speech afflict bored chairperson and school child. One classic remedy seems to diffuse this paralyzing fear, at least temporarily. That is the suggestion that the speaker visualize the audience naked. It at least, it remains a fact that this fear is is a self-centered one, and is brought on by pure vanity. Knowledge of this basic fear of criticism brings vast fortunes to the. That one particularly doesn't help me because that's just weird. I don't like to imagine people naked. It's just, I mean, I guess if we're all naked, and I imagine that's a little bit funny. So I guess I could relax in some level. But yeah, I would. I actually use mantras quite often, just in my early morning hours, late evening hours. Closest to the subconscious mind. During sleep and during walks and things like that. And I try to embed these things, within me. And that's one way of building self-confidence and generally just contentedness. But yeah, I guess, he points out it's vain. But yeah, imagine people naked if you like. That might help. Knowledge of this basic fear of criticism brings vast fortunes to the manufacturers of clothing each year and costs timid people the same amount, because most people lack the personality or the courage to wear clothes that are one season out of style. To some extent, this basic fear of criticism is employed by the manufacturers of automobiles who design new models every season so as to satisfy the status seekers and those who depend on outward shows of success. Before you can develop self confidence sufficient to master the obstacles standing between you and success, you must take inventory of yourself and find out how many of these six basic fears are standing in your way. A few days of study, thought, and reflection will readily enable you to lay your finger on the particular fear or fears that stand between you and self confidence. Once you discover these enemies, you may easily eliminate them through a procedure that will be described later on. The fears of ill health, poverty, old age, and death are thought by some to be the results of the holdover effects of teachings of a bygone age, though such beliefs persist in certain quarters today. It was even more common in the past for people to be taught that death might bring with it a world consisting of fear and eternal torment. The possibility exists that the effect of this teaching so shocked the sensibilities of the human mind that fear became embedded in the subconscious mind and, in that manner, was transmitted from parent to child and thus kept alive from generation to generation. Scientists differ as to the extent that such fears can be transmitted from parent to child through physical heredity. They are all in accord on this point, however, that the discussion of such matters in the presence of a child is sufficient to plant the fear impulse in its subconscious mind, where nothing but strong resolution and great faith in a belief opposite to the thing feared can eliminate the damage done. Right? Oftentimes, we're just trying to forget these traumas that we may have experienced at younger ages. The fear of loss of love of someone, jealousy, is a holdover from the days of human savagery when it was man's habit to steal his fellow man's mate by force. The practice of stealing another's mate still exists to some extent, but the stealing is now done through allurements of one sort or another: a sympathetic ear, too much intimacy at the office, a thoughtful gift, a fine dinner. The spouse may no longer be dragged into a cave by a suitor wielding a club, but those in relationships often intuitively sense the same danger that was present in prehistory. Thus, the fear of loss of love or jealousy has a biological as well as an economic basis for its existence. Jealousy is a form of insanity because it is often indulged in without the slightest reason for its existence, linking it often with paranoia. Despite this fact, jealousy causes untold suffering, annoyance, and failure in this world. To understand the nature of this fear and how one comes by it is a step in the direction of its mastery. Every student of this philosophy should do a certain amount of collateral reading, selecting biographies of those who have attained outstanding success, because this is sure to disclose the fact that these leaders met with practically every conceivable sort of temporary defeat. Yet, despite these discouraging experiences, they developed self-confidence sufficient to enable them to master every obstacle that stood in their way. Among the recommended classic books of this type are Compensation by Ralph Waldo Emerson, The Age of Reason by Thomas Paine. These two historic books alone help to place the concept of self-confidence within reach. They make it easier to understand why there are but few impossibilities in life, if there are any at all. I hope that brought you some good insights. Continue on to the next chapter, and if this is where you're starting, maybe start from the beginning. The intention of this book is ultimately to give the best thought impulses that will help you strive to create more action in those projects that you're working on, and truly get you, with better ideas to keep moving forward. That's why if something ever comes up during this, give it a pause, write it down, come up with a short little sketch plan. And my intention is, here in the past, to still form that mastermind with you in the future during this reading in any of the chapters. And I hope you achieve your dreams as long as they're good and good for all others in the best way possible. I appreciate you.